So in this War Thunder video, we're going to be looking at the Leopard 2 Panzer Battalion 123, which is a really cool vehicle in War Thunder because it's one of the 3 copy-paste premiums, or 4 if you count China, but it's a copy-paste premium. It's basically just a Leopard 2A4. It has really nothing different compared to the tech tree version of the Leopard 2, other than it has a cool little camo net that you can actually take off on the vehicle, which is always, kind of cool. You're able to customize it to your liking, which is always great within War Thunder. Now, this thing is at battle rating 10.3. It's going to be able to grind out all of the, tech tree for Germany. It's the rank 7. Even if they add rank 8 in the future of War Thunder, you will be able to even grind out rank 8, which is always a good thing. And especially since this is a premium that whenever you get in a sale, it's going to be 50% off, especially during an anniversary sale. It's really a good pickup in my opinion. The Leopard 2A4 is one of those vehicles that I think is one of the most average MBTs within the game. And being average is not really that bad in a way. So your gun's really average, your mobility is pretty average compared to everything else. Your armor is okay in some situations, but it is going to be worse in others. But overall, it's a vehicle that can adapt to any situation that you throw at it. Do you need to snipe? You can do it. You have thermals, you have a laser rangefinder, and you have a pretty good gun to do it. Do you need to brawl? You need to go into a city. It's really good at doing those sort of things. Do you need to retreat because maybe your gun got knocked out, or maybe your whole turret got knocked out and you need a reverse speed to get out of the harm's way? It's really good at just doing everything, but it's not good at doing just one thing like some tanks within War Thunder have. It's just average overall. And to be honest, the worst probably aspect of the 2A4 is the armor, because whenever you look at a 2A4, the turret is honestly pretty good. It's not the greatest. 3BM42 will be able to go through the turret cheeks. M735, which you'll see from some of the lower tier stuff like XM1s and even like stock Abrams and stuff, will have a hard time going through the turret. But as soon as you show your lower front plate to anything with the APFSDS, it basically would just kill you. So there's not really a huge thing to do other than, shoot lower plate on this thing, and it is basically dead. It does have really good heat protection, by the way, so, definitely look on that bright side of that. But at the end of the day, if you want to kill a Leopard 2A4, all you got to do is shoot for the lower portion of the right side of the tank if it's looking directly at you, and you hit ammo. And that's one of the downsides to the Leopard 2A4 is that you can sometimes get your ammo into the back of the turret, but you still need to bring just a little bit more to actually be able to, be combat effective throughout the game. I don't believe the ammo that you have stored up in the turret is enough to last you a whole game. And sadly, you'll always have like 1 or 2 rows of the ammo at the very bottom. You can see on your screen now what I'm talking about with it. But yeah, the gun on it's really good. It gets the rounds of DM13 and also DM23, which is very comparable to actually the 105 from the Germans as well, because, the 105 gets DM33, and it basically has the same pen as DM23 on the 120. So it's really good. I don't really think that's a downside to it. You do have the Ariete with Italy that has DM33, but DM23, especially on this tank, is going to be good enough. You're going to be able to go through your T72s, you're going to be able to go through your T90s if you see them. And overall, it's a really good gun. Like the 120 is a very common gun that you'll see within the German tech tree, especially at the higher tiers. And it's always really good to actually get used to this gun because it's going to be one that you see everywhere. America, Japan, all of these nations have this gun within War Thunder. Oh yeah, one thing to note before we go into the rest of this video that I kind of remembered is that the tech tree Leopard 2A4 has a bulldozer. Now, does a bulldozer really guarantee you anything? Not really. It gives you a little bit more of extra armor on the front, a little bit more spaced armor, but at the end of the day, the Leopard 2 Panzer Battalion not having it is not going to be the end all be all, but it is a difference if you do care about that sort of stuff. Now, on to the rest of the video. Now, I would highly recommend actually getting this one because it's one of those that is just really average on. There's nothing that you really need to understand of the vehicle. It goes forward, it goes backwards, it goes left, it goes right pretty decently, so there's no mobility issues with it. The gun on it is going to be pretty reliable. It's going to be pretty good. You kind of got to get to know where to shoot for weak spots with the gun, but it's going to be powerful enough that even if you don't know what you're doing within War Thunder, if you know to just shoot towards either the lower plate, the sides of tanks, or even like the driver's hatches and stuff like that, you'll be able to pin. That's going to be really good for it. The only really downside of it is that once again, because it's not an American vehicle, it doesn't have a 50 cal. So whenever people are helicopter rushing you with helicopters, it's going to be a little bit hard to take them down, and maybe you might need to actually learn how to snipe helicopters with the main gun, which is one of those things that pretty much you need to learn starting into your top tier adventures of War Thunder, because as you know, helicopter rushers are always very annoying within the game. So yeah, I recommend it. It's one of those vehicles that I feel like is going to be really good no matter who you put it with. The average player the really good player is going to be doing pretty decently with it. I mean, it's not really a bad premium, other than if you don't know what you're really doing whenever it comes to War Thunder, it could be a little bit of an issue. I'd highly recommend, making sure that you like the game and enjoy the game before you get a premium like this, because this is going to be one of those that 100% people are just going to buy because, they want to see top tier. And it's one of those vehicles, yeah, you'll see top tier, but at the end of the day, are you going to do well with it if you just buy a premium? And that's probably going to be the answer of no. So I recommend it, but I only recommend it if you guarantee yourself that you're going to stay with War Thunder and you really want to play, Germany top tier in a way. Now, the last thing to talk about with the Leopard 2 is that this is what I take for ammo. So I take around 20 rounds of AP FSDS, which is your, armor piercing, fin stabilized Garden Sabo if you're new to the game. And I only take 20 because there's about 20 rounds of the thing in the back of the turret. There may be a little bit more, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there should only be about 2 rows of stuff in the front of your tank left whenever it comes out. So if you're hold down, you basically should never get ammo racked if they shoot in that area. But if they do see it, they will most likely ammo rack you, which is just kind of a given. But at the end of the day, whenever I played the Leopard 2, and I've ran out of ammo, it just feels really bad. And I feel like there's those games that you get in the Leopard 2 where you just carry the game, that you kind of just need the ammo. Like, yeah, you may have that rare chance, a rare game where those 2 rows of ammo completely nuke you. But whenever you run out of ammo with a War Thunder, and trust me, it's just a worst experience in the world, especially if you're on like a larger map and you have to go towards a capture zone to get more ammo. Always just bring more. It's always going to be one of those things that I always do. So, and I also bring Heat FS. So there's a reason why I bring Heat FS on a majority of my tanks in general, and also HE within the lower tiers, is that there's sometimes situations of where Heat FS, where you need a chemical round, is actually better. And it's because of the overpressure mechanics within War Thunder. There's sometimes with your AP FSDS, you'll just go straight through, like an M901, for example. We'll just use that as an example. But if you hit it with your 120 Heat FS, it will overpressure the tank and completely nuke it, and you don't have to actually engage the thing, fairly. Because as you know, the M901 can, put its turret above like a little thing, and you can't even see the M113 below it. So yeah, it's one of those things. Anything that's lightly armored, SPAs, stuff that is open top even, you just use the Heat FS to kill it with it. So yeah, that's my recommendations for ammo. 20 AP FSDS and 4 Heat FSs, just because you may need it for like helicopters even, shooting at them whenever it comes out. Some kind of like explosive thing to actually overpressure stuff. So yeah, to end off this video, I do recommend it. Like I've said, it's one of those vehicles that's very average. It's going to do pretty well no matter what situation you put it in. There's going to be some situations where you do pretty bad with it, and there's going to be games where you just carry with it, which is what I kind of feel like this vehicle is really good at. It's really good being able to go anywhere on the map that you really want to. It's really good being able to, if you're forced into a position, if you're forced to defend, if you're forced to attack, you can just move on the fly. Like, there's no reason to actually play this vehicle, in a certain way. You just adapt to whatever the map and whatever the enemy and also your teammates are doing. If they're pushing very hard, you push with them. If they're defending, you defend with them. It's one of those vehicles that can push ridge lines. It's one of those vehicles that can, get away from enemies if it really needs to. And I believe it's a really good vehicle for Germany. But the only thing is that you have other vehicles for Germany that can grind up the tech tree, and stuff like TAM2IP or even Charm 3 or even the Leopard L44. So Germany is really stacked whenever it comes to grinders, whenever it comes to ground forces, and it's really just whatever poison you want to pick, whatever you want to play whenever it comes to Germany. And I believe that's always a really good thing. Germany is probably one of the easiest tech trees to grind just because of that. You're able to pick a ton of premiums, which are always really good. And if you want to see a review on the Term 3 or even the TAM2IP, click on one of these now and you will be able to see that video. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next War Thunder video.